Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of In the Pit with Lobo Tigre. Our victim of the day is John Bay. He's the CEO of Standard Uranium, which is just going to be listing tomorrow as he and I speak. So it's a brand new uranium story, and I thought we'd get in here first. John, why don't you go ahead and give us an overview, and then I've got questions.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for having me on today, Lobo. Let me tell you a bit about Standard Uranium. As you mentioned, we will be listing starting on Monday, May the 4th. We are a Canadian junior exploration company, uranium focused, based in Saskatchewan. So our head office is Vancouver, but our projects are in the Athabasca basin of Saskatchewan. We are pre-discovery, so we are about to embark on our inaugural drill program of our flagship project. That project is the Davidson River project, and we can get into more specifics on that. We are aiming to create this first drill program to start this July, COVID-19 dependent.
Okay. Well, that was an admirably concise overview. Now, I've looked at your presentation, and as you say, pre-discovery, so we don't have drill results to talk about yet, but you have a theory, and can you briefly explain for a non-technical audience your theory and why anybody should care about your theory?
Sure. So we started this company 2 years ago. The company was actually built around the Davidson River project. So we acquired the project, and the plan was to go after this. And the reason it's really exciting, it's a 25,000 hectare project in the southwest corner of the Athabasca basin, which has been made famous in the last 10 years by two major discoveries, one by Alpha, which was taken over by Fission. That's the RRR project. And just after that, NextGen made their discovery of the Arrow project. Now, those two projects lie on the Patterson Lake conductor. Our theory was looking at where our geology, looking at where our project was, that same conductor actually travels west and travels across the Clearwater domain. The Clearwater domain, we believe, and it's other people believe as well, is actually the host of the fluids and the uranium that deposited into that conductor on the eastern side. Our geologists had the theory those same fluids and uranium will be deposited equally on the western side of the Clearwater domain. So what we wanted to do over the past 2 years was actually do some geophysics to show that there were conductors on our project and that those conductors hopefully lined up with that Patterson Lake conductor. So we started off in 2018 doing a VTEM study. We followed that up in 2019 with a ZTEM study. And if you look on our presentation and you look at our geology, you can see those conductors showed up beautifully. And it looks to appear that same Patterson Lake conductor comes through across the Clearwater domain and runs through our project. And we are hoping we're going to drill that and find uranium in those conductors and have a big success. So that's our goal for the company.
Okay, very good. Now, as I understood from your bio, you're a financial guy. Who's the geological genius here responsible for this theory? Would that be Neil?
So two guys, actually. First of all, when we started the company, we acquired the project from Daru's Geologic, and Neil McCallum was one of their senior geologists. We brought him on to our company as our VP of Exploration. He's also a board member. Shortly after we started the company, a gentleman by the name of Garrett Ainsworth stepped down, retired, left NextGen, and we brought him onto our company the next day. Garrett is well known in the industry. He was actually the geologist that's famous for finding a boulder field in the southwest with his company Alpha, which was then taken over by Fission, and that was RRR project. And then he left Fission and went over and joined NextGen, and he was a big part of the Arrow discovery. He was the VP of Exploration right up until he joined our company. So if you ask for a geologist who knows the rocks, knows the geophysics in that region of the world, there's probably nobody better than Garrett, and Neil's a close second.
Good answer. And I like that your VPX is on the board. That shows you take your exploration seriously. But okay, so that's the theory. Theory makes sense. It's an interesting, but that's a big area, and there's conductors all over the place, and that doesn't mean there's uranium under them. So how do you target, what are the odds?
Yeah, well, it's a good question. The odds are, we're not going to know until we drill. Well, I can tell you what we did do. We found the conductors. So the geophysics we did prove that there are at least 26 conductors that run through the Davidson River project. So we started off doing a magnetics. We did the VTEM, which showed us more where those conductors were, and then the ZTEM gave us a different angle. We were looking for cross-cutting structures across those conductors. We were looking for breaks. We were looking for wrenching. We were looking for anywhere where uranium could have been deposited and dropped out. Now, the reason I bring those up, when you look at how Triple R was discovered and the geophysics used there and the aero discovery, they were looking at very similar things. Bright spots on those conductors, wrenching, separations, cross-cutting structures. Those were all key in making those discoveries. And that's what we've proved out, and we've sort of vectored all those things together, and it showed one very specific spot, which is about 2 kilometers long, and we're going to start off with our first drill program going there.
All right. And are you going to be paying for all this yourselves? Are you looking to pursue the JV model and get other people's money into play, or what's the overall sort of corporate?
We're going to do it all ourselves. Our shareholders and our management team, we want to keep this project for ourselves. So how are we going to pay for that? It's the next question that's going to come. So as we go public, we're going to have around 600 grand in our bank account, not enough to do a large program. So we've already been in discussions, and we'll continue those discussions over the near future about a capital raise to really expand on a drill program. What would that drill program look like in a perfect world? We would love to do 5,000 meters. That would probably give us about 15 or 16 holes. We feel we're going to get into the basement rock. This will be a basement hosted deposit. The basement rock is going to be roughly 50 to 100 meters below surface, and the drill holes we're going to do are probably between 300 to 400 meters. We're going to pick our first spot. There'll be a fencing there, and we're going to set 3 or 4 drill holes in different directions until we get to the conductor, and then we're going to go from there.
So, sorry, just to be clear, you are going to try to do 1 or 2, proof of concept holes based on the money you have in hand, and then go to raise, or are you going to try to raise money to do a full program?
We'll raise the money to do the full program before.
Okay, all right, and so if you're going to raise money, why the direct listing? Why not IPO and raise some money when you list?
We raised some money as we went public, so we raised about 800 grand just in the last few months. So that's going to be available to us to use, but it's not enough for a full drill program. And if you go back in time, just go back in time 2 months ago, the uranium market was a much different place. I've been raising money for Standard Uranium for 2 years, and let alone getting a broker or a fund manager, anyone to talk to us that wasn't a uranium specific, that was bullish on where it was going, was impossible. So we're getting into a different place now. Uranium is really heating up. It's the best performing metal out there right now. Generalist investors are coming in. You're seeing, more specific fund managers really getting excited. The retail market's getting behind it. I'm getting stockbrokers and bankers all calling us, wanting to take part of this next uranium bull market.
That's interesting. All right, so when you put this together, I can see where maybe at that time, and given the market circumstances, an IPO didn't seem like a very attractive idea. Okay, I can see that. Conditions are improving. Hopefully you raise money at good rates. Hopefully there'll be a component there for retail investors if they're interested. So you start trading, and then what? You can't just go straight to financing. You do some more geophysics, or what are the deliverables with what you have in hand now?
We're going to start trading on Monday. We're going to let the share price run for probably a few weeks, maybe a month, and we'll see where the share price is sitting. And then we're going to go straight to financing. We filed our full prospectus this week. That's available for us to use in our next financing. So we could do a financing, and those shares could be free trading on the closing of that financing.
Okay. All right. So I get the idea. So help me out here. Let's say I'm a new investor in the area, and I'm looking, I'm excited about the rising prices in uranium I've seen lately. And then I hear your story. But over here in the booth next to me, there's a producer with idled assets, ISR production that can come online quickly if the price comes up a little bit more. Why would I pick your early stage story where you really don't have anything yet but a theory, versus this guy who's got a mine, he's got a plant, he's got permits, he's ready to go and make money? Why should I invest in your company?
That's a great question. Well, the way we look at it, and I think a lot of people we speak to have sort of a similar thought, that is, you want to have a balanced portfolio. You want to have some high risks. You want to have some low risk. You want to have opportunity where you can get a nice return, and you want to have some opportunities where you can make a huge return. For us, a company that can make a discovery, a large, high-grade discovery in this region, could have a very large, 10 times, 20 times returns with a big discovery. That's the opportunity we're giving investors.
You should wave your hands when you say that. 10 times, 20 times.
Yeah, the numbers, let's forward-looking statements here, of course. If you look at previous discoveries, you look at what happened to the share price of Alpha and Fission when they made their discovery in this region. You look at what happened to the share price of NextGen when they made their discoveries. They were significant 50 times for the early investors who came in. So that's realistic. If you make a discovery, now I'm not saying we're going to make a discovery, but if we make a discovery, and why would an investor look at us? You look at the project area, you look at the geology we've talked about, you look at people who's made discoveries in this region. We have those people on our team. We've got a highly prospective project. We've got the people who've done it. We're going to be financed to go ahead and drill this. It's going to be, an opportunity for early retail investors to take a gamble. It's an exploration, early stage pre-discovery. That's what people look for.
This is the swing for the bleachers play. I get it. Okay. And is it a one-trick pony, or do you have any other properties in the portfolio? If this doesn't work out, is there a plan B, or is it all?
First of all, the Davidson River project is massive. I mentioned we don't just have this one conductor. This one conductor we have, the one we like the most is 12 kilometers long. So there's we could be exploring that for years. On top of that, there's 25 other conductors on this project. There's been geophysics that show there's 3 main conductors that are really exciting. We're going to go after priority 1. We can continue to drill and look and explore this for many years. We have 2 other projects in the basin, lower priority. We're not going to be spending on those this year. We are continuing staking projects in the basin. We are looking outside of the basin. We're looking at projects in the U.S., other parts of the world for some M&A activities. So we'll see. Right now, we're so excited about what we have in front of us at Davidson River. We're going to focus on that.
Sure. Just real quick, the other projects, are they also on the western side of the Athabasca, arrows slash?
No, they aren't. So we have one which is directly north of the western side. It's called the Gunner Project. It's up by Uranium City. We have another project which is on the eastern side of the basin. It's a small project close to the hurricane discovery by ISO, just up in that region.
Okay, very good. All right. Well, one question I always ask everybody, every CEO that comes into the pit is how much skin do you have in the game? If you're going to try to persuade me, Mr. Investor, that I should buy your stock, how much of your own money have you put into this, or are you putting into this?
Great question. And I'm really happy to talk about that. When we look at, executive compensation and how we look at how we're positioned, I've taken a big gamble on this company. I've taken a majority of my compensation as equity. So in 2018, 2019, and going into 2020, most of my contracts are heavily weighted for equities. In 2018, the first raise we did, we raised, there's the home phone. Challenges of working from home here. I got in at the 5-cent rounds, and I've got 1 million shares in the 5-cent round. This next raise we're going to do, I'll be participating in that, the one we just did, and the next one as well.
All right, so your compensation is skewed towards shares, but you've also put your own cash into all the raises, I guess, so far. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you have been admirably succinct. Normally these things are drawn out. Those really, since we're testing a theory, I don't have a whole lot of more questions, but I did have one. Why standard uranium? Why not awesome uranium or super uranium?
That's a good question. The company was named prior to my getting involved. It was actually the founders who put the seed money in. They were actually some of the founders behind a company called Standard Lithium. So they wanted to sort of copy on the back of that, and they went ahead with Standard Uranium. So there you have it. Now, there's one thing I did want to also bring up. As we go public, we're going to be going public with 44.5 million shares out. A lot of those shares came in previous rounds, and majority of those shares are either under a 4-month hold or a 3-year escrow. So when we acquired the project, anyone that was involved in that round and the insiders seed round, we're locked up for a 3-year escrow. And that's 22.2, I believe, million shares are locked up under 3-year escrow. The last 2 capital raises we've completed at 15 cents. Those were done. We had one in 2018 and one in 2019. Those shareholders who invested more than $1,500 have got a 4-month hold. So overall, of the 44.5 million, 43.9 million are going to be in 4-month hold or a 3-year escrow. So it's extremely tight float when we start trading.
All right. Well, I'm really glad you pointed out. This is very important. So, audience, listen. If you like this story, sorry, John, but don't chase it. This is going to be extremely illiquid at the beginning. Even if you do like it, don't chase it. You won't do yourselves any favor. This is going to be one to pick at and build a position very carefully. I appreciate, John. That's very forthright of you to bring that to our attention. Kudos for you on that one.
No problem. We know that we have built up demand in the market already, people that want to buy our shares. Our biggest issue is having people that want to sell. We don't have anybody that wants to sell any of their positions. So it's an interesting challenge, which is why our next financing will be followed up on our prospectus, and that will help us get liquidity into the trading and get more shares trading, which will be good.
Well, then I guess it's fairly safe to assume there would be a non-brokered retail component in that financing?
Most likely, yes.
Most likely. Okay, forward-looking
None of those
statements.
terms have been set yet, and we're still dealing with interviewing groups to get involved with, so those are all up in the air at this point.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much. You've been a good sport with some tough questions, admirably succinct again. It's very interesting. We will be following it. Best of luck.
Thank you very much. It's been great to share our story with you and get it out to your audience. I look forward to following up with you in the future.
All right, take care.
Take care.